became ill and ended up at Tri-Point Hospital. My family found me at a point where I was almost unresponsive. I was taken into emergency surgery. At this point, I had developed what is called septic shock. My organs began to fail. I spent 5 days on life support. I spent 2 weeks in their ICU. Due to the medications that they used to save my life, I developed gangrene in my feet. I ended up having the toes on my right foot amputated. I was not able to work, had no income coming in. It just became too much. You can't work, you can't pay bills, and you think about everything you're going to lose. We then found Lifeline, which it was a great experience for me. And I do want to say that you gave me a lot of peace of mind, and I just want to say thank you for that.
For over 50 years, Lifeline has been helping people just like Denise to weather life's storms and get back up on their feet. Lifeline's mission is to lead the fight against poverty by empowering members in our community to be self-sufficient and to help improve the quality of their lives. Our motto: helping people, changing lives. Over the decades, Lifeline has strived to live up to that mission and to help those struggling in our community. Whether it's help doing their taxes, getting assistance with paying their rent or utilities, or just calling into our 211 department to get needed program information. This year alone, our 211 department took over 22,000 calls. But as Lifeline celebrates 50 years of helping the community, it's important to remember we weren't always the organization we are today. Originally a subsidiary of the NAACP, Lifeline was founded on June 19, 1973. Or, as it was known then, the Lakeland Economic Development Corporation. Only 5 years prior, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Economic Opportunity Act that creates community action agencies throughout the entire country as part of his war on poverty.
In 1973, Lake County was still growing. Pretty much a lot of development was taking place in some of our outlying areas in Lake County. But some of our older communities, we were starting to see a little bit of graying, a little bit of social problems arising. More of the citizens in our older communities were experiencing certain needs that there was no entity out there that would address those needs. And so I think the fact that Lifeline came along and just has a very wide range of services that they can connect people with has really, I think, made a difference.
I think the 70s in Lake County and in the Cleveland area in general was a time of economic downturn. And so I think that probably necessitated a lot of the need for the safety net programs, but also training the workforce to be able to employ more people and more kind of living wage jobs. That continues to be a need today, but I think it was probably a driving factor back then as well.
I'm one of the few people who probably has been around for all 50 years of Lifeline's existence. So I have watched Lake County grow, change, face different challenges that maybe weren't there 25, 30 years ago. Been very beneficial, and Lake County is a better place because Lifeline is there to help address these issues, to monitor that change, and to make the right decisions and help us in government make the right decisions on how to address those challenges as they arise. So I just, again, thank Lifeline for their 50 years of tremendous effort that has made a difference in our county.
Only 14 years later, in 1987, Lifeline would be designated as the community action agency for all of Lake County, paving the way for the multitude of different programs and departments that we run today. But let's hear from a few more that have had the chance to see Lifeline's growth and change and really its development over the years.
How has Lifeline grown and changed? dramatically from the time that I became involved with Lifeline. When I came on the board with Lifeline, there were 3 employees. We had virtually no programs. We had lost HEAP. HEAP had been one of the programs that they had, and the state of Ohio had taken HEAP away. We had 2 program people, an executive director, a program person, and a secretary, and a budget that was barely $200,000.
It was a very small agency. I don't think many people knew about it. It was a sleepy agency. I didn't see much action going on. The biggest difference is there was a complacency in Lifeline of what they could do. They never asked, what more can we do? And that's the difference.
And so we're just really struggling to determine whether or not even Lifeline should continue to exist.
In the beginning, they really looked at those who were in poverty, developed budgets and financial plans. They also helped with heating through the HEAP program. But since then, they have grown to housing and stability in housing, rental assistance, help with food, seniors.
And all the things that we knew Lifeline needed to do, bringing programs in, getting funding, winning back HEAP from that the state of Ohio had taken away, building up the relationships and the reputation of Lifeline as being an organization that can deliver.
It's an unsung agency, but it really gets into the fabric where we build people's ability to help themselves. And Lifeline deserves so much credit. They have done yeoman's work. Couldn't be a good community without Lifeline.
And it's grown and it's taken on more programs. The county has provided more and more funding. United Way has provided more and more funding. And with each one of those opportunities, they've grown the organization. I think there's like 30 some employees now from 3. Amazing to see that growth. But it's also, I think, a credit to all the people that work here and to the boards over the years that saw the vision, saw the opportunity, and took advantage of those opportunities and said, no, we can do that. Whether we could or couldn't, but we were going to try.
And I was motivated to get involved because we wanted to come up with some system of policies, a system of how do we hire and how do we get the good people on board to do that. And being a nonprofit agency, I mean, you don't pay a lot of money in this business. You just need to try to find quality people. But working for a nonprofit is sometimes a thankless job. I think the progress that they've made, I'm certainly proud of what they've accomplished.
Lifeline has certainly grown and changed dramatically over these past 50 years. In fact, in the year 2020, Lifeline became the community action agency for all of Geauga County, expanding our reach, our efforts to help as many as possible in our local community. But what is Lifeline doing today? And what kind of impact are they having on our community? Let's look in and see.
I think what Lifeline has done has been able to give a face and a voice to our most vulnerable folks. So that's been incredibly important. Certainly the programs, the emergency rental assistance, the tax preparation, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, all of the things that are designed to help get people back on their feet and help them be able to access services are incredibly important.
They fill the gaps that other agencies aren't able to fill because of their flexibility and their broad mission as opposed to one mission. They're able to fill in where mental health agencies might not be able to do or the strict alcohol and drug agencies might not be able to fill. They can fill in the gaps and get the clients and the services they need.
Entities like Lifeline, I always just say they're tax dollar stretchers. They basically step in and can really be on the front line, maybe a little bit more focused than government officials are on what the real needs of the communities are. And I think any partnership, that can be developed, and I think there's just been a great partnership developed between governmental entities in this county and Lifeline to address a lot of these pressing needs.
Lifeline impacts the community in a variety of ways. They are always helping out with housing, their supportive housing program, also making sure people's utilities are on, even, through all the HEAP programs and other government programs that they're able to offer.
I had the privilege of seeing people's lives transform, whether it was helping someone secure housing or helping with medications or helping someone keep their utilities on. It was gratifying to see people overcome their obstacles. It was an amazing experience.
The cumulative effect of helping people get into housing helps them get more stable in their job, helps them get into a healthier living environment. It impacts a person's and a household's success in life.
I think it impacts the community in a lot of different ways. I mean, obviously our mission is to fight poverty and to improve the quality of life for all people. I think we do that in so many different ways. I mean, obviously we have 20-something programs that are designed to fight poverty from sort of every angle, whether that's housing or transportation or job training or healthcare. We offer all of those different things to kind of hit people where they're at.
The rewards of working with Lifeline is seeing the results of what they've accomplished. I know personally some people that in my community and how they've accomplished to better themselves and to better maybe their properties, better their families. It's just been, that's the reward, to see the results of their work.
To see the successes that there have been, to see the benefits that people have received, and to hear their stories and where they were and where they got to was just, to me, just heartbreaking and heart enhancing. I mean, it was just made you feel like, oh my God, look at what we did for this person and how we changed their lives. And I think that's what this organization is all about. It's truly a life-changing type organization.
I remember one time going to an inspection for a couple, and when I got there, they had their cookie jar, and I thought that was kind of interesting that they brought this beautiful cookie jar with them. They were super happy with their new home, and they ended up putting their cookie jar on the counter, and they looked at each other and they said, "We're home." And so that was one of the most impactful experiences that I've had working at Lifeline.
So from our humble beginnings over 50 years ago to the thousands that we've helped up to our current day, Lifeline will continue to grow to face the ever-growing challenges in our community. So what does the future hold for Lifeline moving forward?
I wish there was some more money and perhaps you could get into the housing development business. There's still just such a need for people at the really lower end of the income spectrum. And right now the rental market is just crazy. From a young household to an old household, people are getting priced out of the market. Unless there's some way of developing something more, people will continue to be hurting.
With regards to the current needs in the county, I think one of the great benefits is 2-on-1. So you can look at that dashboard at any time and see what's happening in the community. But in the last couple of years, what's happened is that search for housing, rental assistance, emergency housing, utility assistance. But the housing challenges right now, it's really frightening what's happening. But I think that Lifeline has the ability to be the voice and the champion for the folks that are suffering with being able to find affordable housing.
There's always some sort of disaster around the corner that it seems like we're going to be asked to jump in and respond to. So that's kind of our blueprint, to be able to launch programming that's impactful in an organized sort of way, but also be able to pivot and respond to disasters as they occur.
Hopefully they'll get the funding that they need to continue. Hopefully they'll be able to do the outreach. Hopefully they don't get too big that they lose contact with the common folk that really need their services. But knowing the staff that work here, they're not going to lose the common touch.
What I've really liked about Lifeline over the years is it's very nimble, and they can pivot very quickly. They've been doing things through pandemic that we had. So there's opportunities. I think they need to continue to do that, to be able to be kind of lean and mean in a lot of ways, where they can easily pivot to address growing concerns in the community. Changes that happen, I mean, the community is going to continue to change, and I think this kind of an organization will continue to address issues as they come up.
I would just encourage our communities to get involved in Lifeline. We're here to serve our local communities, and we do that in so many different ways. There's always going to be a need for volunteers. There's obviously always going to be a need for fundraising, board members, any way you can give back to the community. We're here for it, give us a call.
So as we celebrate 50 years of helping our community, reflecting on the growth, the impact, different experiences that Lifeline has had over the years, it's important to remember the job is not done. There are still so many people in our community that continue to struggle and need our support and help. So congratulations to Lifeline, and a very special thank you to all of you who have helped build Lifeline into the agency that we see today.
Thank you to everyone who's helped get us to 50 years. It's been a long-term project, but we've had the support of so many different funders, staff, board members, volunteers, community members. We couldn't have gotten to 50 years without all of the support and collaboration, so thank you.